Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. I am Nina, and if you are new here, welcome. It's so good to have all you beautiful ladies on here with me. And today we're going to be discussing emotional investments. Should you be emotionally investing in the first date and the second date? What does an emotional investment look like as a woman? And how we can fix that. Okay, so as usual, I have my tea. I'm actually trying out a new tea called Copacabana. It's supposed to be fruit infused, so it smells really, really good. Let's see how we do. It's nice and fruity. It's like a little bit peachy. But let's see how we do with this tea and this tea right here. So I have my notes over here. If you see me looking down, it's because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, let's get into it. Right, so emotional investment. Now, ladies, this is a big topic or a heavy topic because, we usually invest way too early as women, and most of the games that men play, if they intend on playing games, will depend on you being emotionally invested. Okay? So the quicker you understand that dynamic, the better, because then you don't have to, subject yourself to certain things. So an emotional investment as a woman is something that a man needs to earn, in my opinion, because once you are invested emotionally as a woman, that's really when you start taking a lot of BS and, doing a lot of stuff that's actually going to pull you back if you are looking to date up or just have a healthy dating life, right? So don't over invest too early. First date, second date, you actually shouldn't. And it's a work in progress, all right? We all struggle with this because sometimes you meet somebody who's, really nice or really charming or, looks like they tick all your boxes. But early days are early days and it's called that for a reason. So we don't want to over invest emotionally and then have to go through a whole thing when a person turns out to be the opposite of what we thought, okay? So let's get into it. The first and the second date, as I've said, is not for you to overinvest. Now, how do you know you are overinvesting emotionally? So, my biggest red flag is when you feel like you need to make something happen. You need to make conversation happen. You need to make the date fun. You feel like it's your burden, it's your responsibility. You are taking on the role of, the leader. Let me make sure this person has a lot of fun. Let me make sure that this person, doesn't get bored. That is an emotional investment that is unwarranted, unsolicited, unnecessary, and premature. Okay, so ladies, don't do it. It goes the same with like needing closure. So if something happens that is very obvious in terms of like if someone has ghosted you or disrespected you or something like that, and you have questions, that's natural, right? But this need for closure, this need for having that final discussion, this need for, I need to look in his eyes. And why? Why? You know, you don't need that. And the longer you tie yourself to that, the longer this person has that hold over you. And this is not somebody that in a first date, second date, third date scenario, this is not somebody that you are close enough for them to even have that kind of power over you. Do you know what I mean? In the bigger scheme of things, that's really what it is. You know, needing closure, or needing him to be honest, needing him to really say what's going on. You know, read between the lines, take a hint and a clue, keep it moving, you know, because if you're going to sit there waiting for somebody to become what you think is correct, whether you're right or wrong, you're really just chaining yourself to wherever you are unnecessarily, or chaining yourself to this person unnecessarily, right? And giving this person so much power over you that they actually get to determine whether you move on or not. If they don't want to come forward, then you don't move on. So, ladies, that is a huge emotional investment. I think it's a goal to work on. It's not something that you're going to achieve overnight. And I think it's levels to it, because even when you are in a long-term relationship, if things go south, you know, it's not about bailing, but there's a mentality that you need to have if you're going to keep a level of respect. And the mentality needs to be, if I have to choose between me and you, I'm choosing me. And that needs to be the energy. It's not something that you have to threaten, but you really have to embody that energy of, with or without an explanation, with or without an apology, with or without honesty. If I feel like this is not where I need to be right now, I give myself permission to move on. I give myself permission to be available for people that reflect the same values that I hold. And I give myself permission to walk away without even needing to explain myself. Because that's the other side of this. You need him to explain himself. You also want to air what's on your chest. I give myself permission to walk away without needing to share my truth, if I feel like, where is it going to go anyway? Okay, so I know it's a bit of a chunky one, because life is not black and white. Life is gray. There are instances that are very gray, right? But ladies, first date, second date, no gray areas. If it's not adding up, if the math is not mathing, don't sit there and try and make it make sense. Don't try and get an explanation. Don't be, sending paragraphs and paragraphs asking why, and don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that, okay? Please don't do that, okay? All right. And then emotional investment number 2 is believing his stories. Now, I often tell this to my coaching clients. I'll always say, ignore what a man says. I don't care if it sounds good. I don't care if it is offensive. I don't care if it's useless. Just ignore it. Just ignore it and focus only on what you want to hear, what you want to achieve, what your goal is. So when you're on a date, first date, second date, this guy's probably trying to impress you. He might sprinkle some fabrication on his story, okay? And the point is not to play detective and figure out what was the truth, what was the lie. The point is to watch his actions towards you and see if they match up with your level up goals or your dating goals, right? So, for example, say, you are looking to start a business, right? Or you're looking to expand your little business or whatever, right? And you meet somebody who's an entrepreneur and he's giving you all of this, great advice and stories of, oh, this is how I started and, whatever, right? Great. Okay. If you say to him, oh, okay, this is my idea, da, da, da. Can you help me with A, B, and C? Yeah, sure. Bring me this, do this, da, 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 blah, 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 right? You don't pay attention and get excited over, oh my gosh, he's an entrepreneur, he's gonna help me do this, da, da, da. You switch all of that off. You focus on that one thing that lines up with your goals, and that one thing is, I will help you draft a business plan, I will help you meet such and such, I will help you get such and such documents, I will help you, I will sponsor such and such. Whatever it is that he says he's going to do that you know is going to be beneficial to you is what you focus on, and you hold him to that. So the next time you see each other, or whenever you decided you were going to talk about it, you make sure that you bring your bit, right? He said, oh, you should show me your website, I'll help you to get it, da 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 da, so you can start getting sponsors and money and da da da. Bring it. Next time you see him, hi, look what I've been working on. Open your laptop, open your phone, send him a link, open it up, make it a whole thing. Don't be shy. Look, and I did this and I did this. And his actions will tell you how serious he is about either being an entrepreneur or helping you, okay? If he says, oh, I'll do this and I can do that, and promises you the world, and you hold him to it, and it's this story, that story, that story, this story, he's not interested, he's changing the topic, he's in a funny mood, he's unapproachable. Long story short, you are not going to get what it is that you have been promised. All right, what do you do in that scenario? You just take notes, okay? A lot of ladies are going to want to go back to point number 1. But you said da da da. There's no need for all of that, okay? That is an emotional investment that you don't need. And believing his story was an emotional investment that you didn't need in the first place anyway. All you're doing when you're demanding apologies is you're telling him that I bought your story, I invested emotionally, now I'm upset because I can see what it is, and I demand that you make me feel better by using words. Because their actions aren't going to change. I mean, if their actions were going to change, you wouldn't even be where you are, right? Ignore a man's words, just watch his actions. And this is one way of doing it without emotionally investing too early, okay? So let him talk his stories, be all excited and, fascinated and whatever. But as soon as you hear that detail that talks about, something that you've got on your goal list, jump on it. Oh, you know what? Now that you speak about it, I was thinking about da da da. What do you think? Would you help me really? Wow. Okay. Hold him to it. If he doesn't come through, move on. Move on, or at the very least, disinvest. Don't even. He's not for that. Okay. Maybe he's good for buying you dinner and drinks and stuff like that, but he's no good for what he said he was good for. Understand? So you place them where they belong. All right, and then the third emotional investment is dating one guy at a time. Now, hear me out. Dating. I'm not saying getting into a relationship with more than one guy at a time. I'm saying if you're dating one guy at a time, you're really getting emotionally invested way too early. And what do I mean by dating? I mean you are letting one person take you on a date. One person that you are not in a relationship with, you're letting him take you on a date, and you're waiting for him to suggest a second date, and you're not allowing other first dates to happen in the interim. And if it takes him a week, a month to decide on a second date, that means for a whole week or a whole month, you are not interacting with any other potential. You are waiting. Now, that is a huge emotional investment. Doesn't seem like it because it's like, oh, we had such a great time and he wants to see me again. So let me just see how it goes. It does not feel like an emotional investment, but think about it. And I'm not saying go on a rampage. I'm not necessarily saying go on a rampage if that's not what you want to do. If that's what you want to do your thing, okay? But what I am saying is, if you, for example, meet somebody today and he takes you out on a date tomorrow and you guys click and, you know, he wants to get to know you some more and you're also interested in getting to know him some more, and he plans a date for 2 weeks, right? Maybe he's busy, he's flying out, he's, you know, he can see you again in 2 weeks time. Now I'm going to give you two different scenarios. One where you're super emotionally invested after one date. You're going to wait for those 2 weeks and you're going to chat, right? In between, you're going to chat. It's going to be a good morning, how's your day, good evening, good night thing, whatever the kids are doing now, I don't know, child. And you're going to do that for 2 whole weeks. And this is a perfect stranger, mind you, barring one date. Then when you see each other for a second date, there's just so much familiarity. You guys are probably calling each other pet names now. Hey, babe. Hey, love. Hey, my love. Hi. Hi, baby. You know what I mean? You're probably already there by the time he comes back for a second date. And when he comes back for a second date, you're so familiar that it doesn't really matter where the date is at this point. It could be at his place, it could be at your place, it could be, you know, at a really nice restaurant, maybe. It could be just at an average coffee house. It could be whatever. Why? Because you guys are so familiar. Oh, I feel like I've known you my whole life. Be careful, ladies. All right, so before I get off tangent. So that's the first scenario, over-invested. Now, if you're not overly invested in your first date and, you know, you had a really great time and he wants to see you again and you want to see him again, you know, it feels like it could really go somewhere, right? Once again, he's flying out. He's got this and that going on for the next 2 weeks. He's only going to be able to see you after 2 weeks, right? If you're not that emotionally invested, you might entertain 1 or 2 texts here and there in between, because, you know, we're not robots, maybe. But your biggest focus is not going to be on waiting for 2 weeks. It's going to be like, okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? What are your plans? Let me know. That sounds exciting. That, I don't know. Okay. That is going to be the conversation, because why? You are focused on what it is that he is going to be able to bring to you. Okay. At this point, you're focused on making him prove himself to you. You're not just believing everything that he says. He has to prove himself to you. So if he says, oh, let's hang out again when I come back, whatever. Okay, great. When are you coming back? Oh, Okay, great. Well, let me know when you've made reservations. I can't wait. And in those 2 weeks, even if you go on 1 or 2 other dates, energetically, you are more focused on dating than on this one guy. Do you understand? The energy is so different. So you could meet this guy and be like, oh, okay, that's great. And then you meet someone else and they take you on a nice date. Maybe you click with them as well. Maybe you don't click with them. And that's okay. And you meet someone else and you let them take you out on a nice date and you click with them. Now you're clicking with these two. Now this one comes back and he wants to take you on your second date, and you go and that one wants to see you the following day on your next date. Okay, it gets a little bit hectic, I won't lie. But you are not invested in any specific person. And energetically, what that does is it lets a person know that he has to come correct in order to even think about distracting you from other options, right? And this may sound really horrible and all of that kind of stuff, but let me tell you, ladies, when you are dealing with a masculine man and you are feminine in your energy, this is what they like. These men are competitive. They compete in the business and workplace all day long. These men watch athletes for relaxation because competition is inside their blood. They watch game, animals attacking each other and all of that gruesome stuff. They hunt. This is what they do. I'm not talking about feminine men that want to sit and do the same thing that women are doing. I don't speak about those men. I don't relate. Okay? I'm talking about masculine men that are at the top of their game. This is their nature. So if you as a feminine woman are so laid back in your energy, you don't call him when he doesn't call you, that means you don't talk. You don't initiate texts. If he doesn't text you, guess you don't text. Guess you don't chat. That's just how it is with somebody who you've only had 1 or 2 dates with, or 3. I mean, if you're not in an exclusive relationship or some sort of relationship with a mutual commitment, you're single. You're free to do whatever you want. Okay? And as a feminine woman, when you have that mindset and you have that energy and you lay back and when he calls you, hey, you've been so quiet. Hey, no, I'm just waiting on you to plan our next date. What's going on? That lets him know that unless he's ready to come with something, you're not even interested. And a lot of men will back away if they are not up to the task because they're not masculine enough, or, and this is extremely important, if they don't like you that much. And ladies, you want to know this information as quickly as possible, because the longer you entertain somebody who's not actually that interested in you, the more you waste your time. And by the time you figure out, oh my gosh, this guy actually doesn't really care about me as much as I care about him. You're emotionally invested. You're writing 10 paragraphs to him and all he's sending back is, okay. And you're like, what? So save yourself all of that drama, all of that embarrassment, all of that. Ooh, cha. Save yourself all of that. Pull it all the way back, ladies. Lean back. Let that man come at you. You don't meet him halfway. Because that one guy that likes you so much that he's willing to go through your obstacle course, whatever it is, that's the guy that you want next to you. Because think about it, long term, when you're emotionally invested, you don't want somebody that as soon as things get hard or tough or uncomfortable or whatever, they're out the door. I will make a video about how to know if a man is emotionally invested, what that looks like. So the boys version of this video, basically. So be on the lookout for that. That's what you want as a feminine woman, because that's what's going to give you that security of, this guy really wants to be here, instead of you being in that space of, I have to do A, B, and C to make sure that he's comfortable so that he wants to be here. If you have to do all of that, you already know that he doesn't want to be there. That's the tea. All right, I'm going to stop over here because I could just go on and on and on about this, ladies. It's just, and like I said, nobody's perfect. Nobody's like, got this cracked, this code cracked or whatever. But the more aware of it you are, the easier it is for you to pull yourself back. And when you get into situations where you really meet somebody who maybe ticks all your boxes for real, then, you'll be emotionally invested for the right reasons, or for better reasons, let's say that, than you may have been doing in the past. So yes, be gentle on yourself, let yourself grow out of it and all of that. Understand that it is a process, but as long as you have your eye on the prize, right? Keep your eye on the prize. You are the prize. You stay the prize. Okay? Go where you celebrated and live your best life. All right? So I'm going to leave you ladies over here. Thank you so much for jumping on this video with me. I hope you liked it. Let me know if you have any questions around this, any comments. Leave those in the comments below. And I'll catch you beautiful ladies in the next one. Remember to stay feminine. That's the tea.